Last day of the trading week for me, of course, and the last trading buddy. It's a bookend kind of thing. And Thursday is where we call it quits for the week. Well, as far as trading buddies is concerned anyway. Righto, what's going on in the markets? We'll find that out very, very shortly. And Ash will be joining me. He'll come in and do his usual thing with the FTSE, and might have a special guest today in Simon, who of course is a cryptocurrency expert, and we'll be looking to him to give us some guidance into the cryptocurrency. Well, I'm not sure he's actually coming in today, but he's going to join the show on a regular basis, and probably every Thursday. We'll see if we can catch up with him a little bit later on. Firstly, however, let's get to the usual scenario, which of course is looking for a breakout on the pound versus the US dollar as we go into what is the open of the UK session, which is about 3.5 minutes away from now. Now, what we're trying to do each and every day that we trade here is find a breakout of the previous 24-hour period and the day thus far. Well, the day thus far is there. In terms of the upside and of the downside, yesterday kind of started there, I guess. So there's the low. The problem that we've got always is identifying an area where we can get some bang for our buck. So if we chose to trade this as a breakout, either long or short, what we're trying to do is get enough profit in the bank to make it worth our while. Now, the risk that we'd be taking if we traded this breakout would be 93 pips plus the spreads. You're looking at about 100 pips. We want to get that at least before we hit a resistance level. I'm not so dusty about the long, but we still can't get 100 pips. It's just not there before we hit that resistance level. And certainly to the downside, we've got no room at all to move. So there's no point in trading the breakout here for me today. Therefore, we don't do it. It's pretty much that simple. All right, let's update you on the trades that I am in. One from 3 weeks ago or a bit more. Where do we get into this? Up here. It's now into its 4th week, this trade. What I've done is we've taken 2 lots of profit, and I've moved my stops from, now we're below entry. The entry was 30 pips away from, no, 45 pips away. Okay. So we're now at 85.97, I believe, is my stop loss currently on Kiwi CAD. If you want to follow what I'm doing, then you need to move your stops to 85.97. The reason I've done that is because this is still in play as a potential bounce point, which could, in fact, take Kiwi CAD back to, I'm guessing, in the first instance, the weekly pivot. And if that is the case, we're protected by the weekly pivot. If it goes further, then this trade line is the next target. And I don't believe that even our entry would have been safe as a stop loss trail if that were the case. So for that reason, that's where the current weekly pivot, that's where the current stop loss is on Kiwi CAD. My target's down here at 83.45-ish or in that vicinity. And there's even room beyond that if this were to play out to its full extent, which of course, my method of trading dictates that I follow the structures and trade them off the top or bottom to the top, top to the bottom, bottom to the top. And what we're currently doing is trading this from the top to the bottom. Now, the bottom of this current structure is right down here, which is what, pardon my squinting, 81.30. So let's call it 81.50, which is from where we are still about 320 odd pips away. So we're only half the distance if it is to go the full distance. Not even that, I don't think. Can't remember what we're up here. Oh no, we're 180, so we're not even halfway to our target. Yes, we are. Roughly halfway to our target. I believe that we won't go there in a straight line, as we don't in most instances, if not all instances. But I do think that this is going fast enough to suggest that we're going to get to this level before we get a substantial bounce. So for that reason, I just wanted to give it enough room to breathe until we get down to here. So potential retrace back to the weekly pivot still makes sense. It's also a horizontal level here, and then on down to this old area here, which is 83.50. So that's the current position on Kiwi CAD. We also entered, those of you who are in the Telegram group would have got this trade. We entered dollar CAD yesterday. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. I traded this on the daily chart, and yep, trading that bar right there. Took a little bit of a while to get warmed up, but once it did, it said sayonara to the weekly pivot and has not looked back at this point. I would expect a potential retracement today, certainly some consolidation after that big move. We are very, very much approaching a support level as well. So I do expect that we're going to get some form of support here. For that reason, I have moved my stop loss only above yesterday's candle and no further. If that gets, if that means anything, if yesterday's move means anything, then they won't take out the high. If I'm wrong, then I've still made money on the trade, because our first take profit was at 64 pips from memory on a risk of 84 pips. So we're doing okay with this one. Just need to withstand a retracement, I do believe. If I continue the theme of CAD strength, and I've done that today by entering another order on Aussie CAD. So that's the third one trading short against the CAD. Not perfect, this one, but not bad either. We have had double top, certainly a toppy area. If we look at the structure of the markets, I see this broadening pattern on, or in, actually, if you like, confluence with this weekly trend line, also making a little bit of a channel there if it actually works out. But that's not the structure that I'm thinking about. What I'm thinking about is the broadening pattern and that horizontal level that we found as a bridge too far, if you like, for Aussie CAD at the moment. With the strength of the CAD as it is, I can't, well, I can. The Aussie's also strong. But if you think about what really used to drive the market anyway, it is interest rates. And currently, Canada's interest rate is 1%, or is it one? I can't remember. They just changed it. Went up by, maybe it's 1.25. Can't quite remember. But the Aussie is 0.1. So there's an interest rate differential. I hope that's not a question in the quiz today. I'll look it up. The interest rate differential is, nearing 1%. And for that reason, why would you be holding Aussie dollars when you can hold Canadian dollars at 1% better on it, or nearing 1% better on the interest rate differential? And if I combine that thought process with what I see in front of me on the chart, then the only real option is to have taken the position that I have, and that is short. I don't have a great stop loss, however, and the reason I'd like to have a better stop loss is to get above the weekly pivot. I figured that if I'm wrong here, the daily candle, if the high of the daily candle is taken out, so will the weekly pivot be, in my humble opinion. This is going long if that's the case, with trend, which is clearly long at this point. So we're actually trading a reversal. But as I said, everything I see points to that being the case, even if it's just a deep retracement. I think we can potentially make money out of it. And we're having a good run on the CAD. So those three CAD trades are in the markets, and Kiwi CAD doing well, dollar CAD doing well, Aussie CAD pretty much on entry at the moment, as you can see. I don't have that much more. It's been pretty much CAD-oriented week for me. There is one game changer bar for the day, and it is, drum roll, dollar yen. Oh, my godfathers. Aussie Yen. It's the curse of me. But it is telling me that I don't like the fact that it's come off its low, but and I'm not about to trade this, don't get me wrong, but there is the signal there that there's a potential for this one to slow down, if not retrace. I see the weekly pivot and this horizontal level. How significant is the horizontal level? Well, you've got to go back in time a fair bit to find it, but there it is. I actually see that as a strong potential retracement target. And we are, what, 300 pips above that, 225 pips above that at this point in time. If I can find a response from the sellers here, in other words, if I can find a reversal pattern of any kind, you could say that we've potentially got one already in the bearish engulfing bar. And as I said, the only thing I don't like about that is it's got a tail on it. But look at this bar here across the daily pivot. Too late to get into that if you wanted to, but it may give you a second opportunity. So there's the potential for this to be a lower high off the back of that bearish engulfing bar. So probably not the worst that I can actually think of, but this pair is really, really a dodgy trap for me. I just cannot catch it at the best of times. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not. I'll stay out for now because it's not 100% clear to me, but it's reasonably placed. Potential reversal, potential lower high. Great candle, but I've missed the entry already. Let's see how it fares throughout the day. I'm happier to be in dollar CAD, I can assure you, than I am in dollar yen. And that's the way I'll stay. Righto. Let's bring Ash in. G'day, buddy.
Hello, buddy. How are you?
I'm going okay. Yeah, not too dusty. Not a lot of opportunity out there, but we're having a pretty good trot with the CAD.
Yeah, it's quite tight, isn't it, at the minute? It's it seems to be, this transition from bullish to bearish, certainly with the US, with the equities, is taking a little bit of time. We're in a bit of a sticky period.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you my charts and we'll have a look through and just see if we can figure out what the messaging is really trying to tell us here, because it's quite mixed in many respects. So let me bring this one over here. Here we go.
Well, we might have Simon in the room a little bit later on, led to believe. But
yeah, that'd be great, mate. Yeah, so we'll have a little bit of crypto chat and bring that back in. That'd be fantastic to bring that back on.
And Simon, if you are in the room under a non-deplume, please let me know, because I have no idea. Sometimes you come in as weird names.
Yeah.
And if you do come in and you're listening to this, then let me know you're in, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but we'll have a chat about cryptos, because actually the crypto market is, I think, quite interesting because of the almost the different sides that people kind of go on. Is it a risk on products that tracks the NASDAQ that many people have said, or is it actually something that is more like gold? So we can kind of have a look at the price action of both and have a chat with Simon about what he thinks is the case, or whether it's kind of something in its own right, which it might be. So
yeah, I'd love to know. I'd actually love to know if somebody's actually pinned a label on it to say, okay, this is a risk on asset, or it's a risk off asset, or we can trade it when the skies turn blue or grey, or whatever, anything that lines up.
Yeah, and I wonder whether in some respects we're still kind of finding out, because it's still relatively young. It kind of did have almost a life of its own for the first few years, but now it's starting to get more adopted by institutions. Maybe we do actually see what it really is over the next kind of decade. But obviously we need to know now, or certainly have a guess at it. This is the FTSE. So the FTSE, really, really interesting. I mean, it's very sticky, mate, to the upside. If we look at this on shorter term timeframes, what we effectively have is the market on right at the highs, and even the kind of sell-offs have been so far, they've been eaten up. It's not collapsing, and I think that many people have been calling for a collapse, me included. And when you look at this on a weekly, you can see the run over the last 6 weeks was so hot that a retracement down again to test something along the, down here, maybe this level or maybe this lower level here. That seems quite sensible to me when we look at this weekly. But it's managed to kind of get above this point here and get stuck up at this particular point. I would have thought that if there was better news on the front in Ukraine, or if there was maybe better news on Omicron, clearing up and China not locking down, we probably would be looking for further upside.
Actually, what are you hearing in Ukraine? Are you hearing that they're testing nuclear weapons?
Yeah, he's sending out a message to the West, effectively saying, this is what I've got. So he's definitely ramping it up. There's no end in sight at this particular stage.
Biggest, dickest, yes.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And we know really when it comes down to it that there's no winners, which is why I think that the market is relatively surprising really at these levels. The fact that it's managed to stay so high. BP and Shell still do very, very well. So the oil stocks are really keeping the FTSE relatively elevated. But some of the mining stocks have started to come down. I noticed that I think it was Rio Tinto. I mean, Rio Tinto down 3% today, but they had some pretty bad profits, or pretty bad numbers released yesterday. But all of them, Glencore down, Anglo America down. So the mining stocks aren't doing so well right now. That may be because we are starting to see that kind of shift in global growth. So the mining stocks don't tend to do so well. And I think there's enough data points which is suggesting that global growth is slowing. You've got the IMF forecasting lower than they thought was probable in 2022, but the market still sticks. So this is the FTSE, and the FTSE has done particularly well, probably initially because of mining stocks, and now because of those oil stocks as well. It's managing to stay relatively elevated. You come down to the NASDAQ, and the picture's a lot worse on the NASDAQ. And there is an inverted head and shoulders here, which I'm sure traders are probably looking out for and potentially looking to play that back to the upside. But there's got to be a big
Trump
question.
The head and shoulders, though?
I don't think it does. No, and the reason I don't think it does is that, Tesla did report yesterday some fantastic numbers. Netflix, completely opposite side of that. You've got a situation where growth stocks will get harmed here because of the yields that the bonds are providing, the fact that you've got the interest rates going up, maybe even faster than was first anticipated. Bullard came out and said 0.75% is possible. They've made a big point, made a big deal out of it. I don't think that will happen, but he's come out and said that that's not going to be very good for these for the Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq, in my opinion, has got further to run to the downside. But again, it's managing to hold its own at these particular levels. So are we in a bit of a sticky range for a little while before those interest rates? I don't know. But I don't see why the Nasdaq, has got much of a future at these particular levels. I think lower, maybe even down to the 10,000 mark. It's currently at 14. So a possible kind of 40% drop on the Nasdaq. S&P.
A little birdie told me to short Netflix on Monday.
Right.
It crashed, didn't it?
It crashed. Yeah.
So I lost money by not trading.
You did, mate. Yeah. It went down substantially.
When did it crash, mate?
When?
It's this week, right?
Yeah, it was this week. Yeah.
Son of a gun.
It's been crashing for the week. Down, subscriber numbers down for Netflix. And I guess that kind of COVID unwinding may be a part of that. I think also because with inflation going where it is, inevitably the first thing that goes are some of these kind of luxury subscription things that you've got. And maybe people have seen enough on Netflix, so they don't, they've got to continue to provide new content.
The competition's just unbelievable these days, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Incredible. Yes, it is. So John's saying down 60% at one point, and yeah, it was a big drop. It was a big drop. I didn't know it was 60%, but a big drop in Netflix. That one will pick up again, and maybe it's a buying opportunity, at that 60% lower mark, because you're right. Disney, Apple, Amazon, Sky, even all providing these services where you can probably watch, even YouTube. You can probably watch
Roku,
many things.
Paramount Plus.
It just goes on, doesn't it? So Netflix, have suffered. There's other earnings that we need to see out, but I think it's going to be a mixed picture, and it's possible that we need to get through earnings season before we see the market come down. Maybe that's what people are waiting on, see what these earnings are like. But yeah, S&P. I mean, S&P nowhere near as bad as the Nasdaq. Again, little inverted head and shoulders here, but you're going to ask us about it trumping this head and shoulders pattern here, and again, I don't think it ultimately will. I think it's possible to get stuck here for a little while, but I still think that the global picture would suggest lower for equities. So I can't see the S&P holding up too well either. And then you've got gold. I mean, this thing is just can't buy a bid. Just when you think it's got going, it breaks through these levels here, crashes back down again. Who knows what's going to happen next? It's just it's really a flip of the coin and anybody's guess what is going on with gold, which again brings us back to the point of Bitcoin. Why is gold just not seeing the adoption that you would think it would have seen in this particular period? We just don't know. I
think on Monday, was it Monday? I think it was Monday, or maybe last Thursday. We just got that 100% right. Gold, I mean.
Yeah.
Because the double top still exists.
Yeah.
Yet there was a rally had to take place because of circumstances to a resistance level.
Yeah.
What chart are you looking at? The daily.
This is the daily. Yeah, we can get to the weekly.
Yeah, look where it got to.
Yeah, got to this
and then sold off.
Yeah.
So the lower high is potentially still there.
Yeah, I think it probably is. I think gold coming down to these levels will make it really attractive. So around about the 1850, that'll make it really attractive. Currently at 1950. So the inflation worries are I mean that does look like a sweet spot there. Inflation worries are not manifesting enough to encourage the gold bulls to kind of come into play. But it is surprising, I think, how resilient this market is. And I don't know whether it's resilient because institutes are effectively keeping it propped up just long enough for them to get out at a decent price, or whether they are genuinely now buying because they believe that there is further to go with some of these companies' growth, because that's not what the data points are suggesting. We've got inflation now in the UK at 7%. We've got unemployment dropping. We've got average earnings going up, but the trade balances aren't very good. So at some point, you would think the Bank of England are going to move. Now, I don't know whether they're going to move as aggressively as the United States, but I think May the 3rd or 4th or 5th is their next meeting, and they're likely to raise interest rates. So ECB came out today. Somebody from the ECB came out today saying that we could be at 0.75 by the end of the year. So they're all going for it, and we know what higher interest rates do, what that does for markets and what it does for growth. And it won't help the market initially. It will start to choke the market as we make the transition. But high inflation is obviously no good either, because we see what's happened with things like Netflix. So there is going to be a change, but it's just so far it's not sticking. Any moves lower, you see the FTSE yet again this morning. It pushes to the downside and it's popped back up again so far. But there might well be another short to be taken, and I'll probably take another short if it pops up to here. I think I'll probably wait on that one actually. I'll probably wait on that short and see if it pops up a little bit and get into the market again at these points. I've got some room really for some upside, but I will probably take one here and then wait for these highs and see if it does start to come down. Because when I look at this chart, it really has been up. It's been a bit of a struggle, but it's been up without any real resting. I suppose you could say here. When you look at the weekly, then this is where I think it gets a bit more interesting. This period here, with no real retracement, and this point looks like the resting point, for it to come back down to, and that's going to be a 300 pip drop. So we're looking at a 5% drop, and I think that is achievable with the FTSE. So I'll continue to sell on the short side of it until it drops.
You know what I see on that chart?
What's that?
Every rally is answered by a sell, and maybe even with interest in some cases. And every sell-off is matched by a rally, and maybe with interest. So in other words, you're getting V-shapes all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, these V-shapes are notoriously tricky to trade, but inevitably they turn around, and when they turn around hard. So at some point, something will be the catalyst to drive this market lower. But this is where it becomes quite difficult, because just when you think you've got the catalyst, something else kind of either happens or it just gets swept aside, because there's very little in the way of support. The Fed aren't supporting the market. What we've had in the past is the market is starting to weaken, and then the Fed come back and say, no worries, we will kind of prop you guys up, and the market rallies. But this is staying sticky for reasons that are slightly more confusing in many respects. As I say, I'm looking down the list of stocks, and aside from Shell and BP, apart from the oil stocks, I don't see the mining stocks doing particularly well. So that does suggest global growth could be, getting to a point where it is choking out a little bit.
Is that going to be, is mining typical of the commodity sector at the moment? Do you think? Is there a slowdown in commodity prices, which is going nuts?
No, well, I don't think so. I mean, if we bring in WTI to see what's happening there, it's similar in a way where it's got stuck here. WTI is it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. I don't think you could do anything with this particular region here. You can't do anything with the pattern. You can find some stuff, that would suggest what's likely to happen. This is obviously suggesting upside, and maybe it gets up there. But it looks to me like we might be entering into a period where the wild swings that we've seen, and these are wild, they're just starting to choke out a little bit, and then we're going to potentially see some sort of pattern form where we need to break out of the pattern, and then we'll see which way it's going to go. But
I think you've probably got it. I know it's very tight, but there is, to my mind, a descending triangle there, which has been broken to the high side and now has retested them. And as you say, that's a buy zone where we are right now.
Yeah.
But would I trust it?
Well, I think this is the thing, mate. I mean, what's if you're looking at some of these currencies, Aussie Yen, you were talking about the rate differential, between the nations, between the CAD and the Aussie, and where I think the Aussie becomes a little bit more tricky is that maybe against the CAD it's a bit different, but against some of the others, the Australian economy has been nowhere near as badly hit by inflation as others, because they're not an importing economy. So this is the reason that the Australian dollar will survive probably when it seems like it shouldn't. The likes of the pound can't survive.
The only currency I want to trade it against short is the CAD.
Yeah, well, that would make sense. I get you on that one, because two commodity currencies, and Canada is also in a similar position economically. Of course, we got the French election debate as well, and we had the French election debate last night, and by all accounts, it looks like Macron's going to probably win that one, and next week we'll see the market reaction of that. Le Pen, she just can't seem to get away from that kind of far right label that people put on her, and I think she'll probably struggle again to kind of win that one. So we could be looking at a Euro pop next week, and with the ECB kind of coming out and saying, we are on the ready for interest rate hikes, then that might start getting a pop, which puts the Swissy and the yen in a pretty bad position. Further problems for the Swissy and the yen as the two kind of weaker currencies, and they really are pairing off currencies really are kind of grouping together right now. I think with the Aussie, the Kiwi, and the CAD in one spot, the Swissy and the yen in another spot. The dollar kind of floats around in the middle as a kind of risk on, risk off, currency as it kind of always traditionally has been. But they seem to be reacting in the way that you'd expect them to historically, because of what's happening with interest rate differentials. And Switzerland don't look ready to do anything. Japan don't look ready to do anything, but they must be getting a bit worried. And with the
you would think so.
And with the price of this stuff and the way these rallies have happened, again, similar to what's happened, what I just showed with the FTSE, again, it's going to take something very small to tip that over and bang, the dollar's going to tank, and the yen will all of a sudden get some interest. But right now, the fundamental picture is playing out the way that
yes.
is traditional.
I mean, fundamentally, it's just not. Well, it is possible to think of yen strength, and particularly if we look like launching nuclear missiles, my godfathers, that's got to help the yen, and the yen is so oversold.
Yes, it is. Mate, just on your Aussie CAD as well. Interesting to see the likes of Rio Tinto, because Rio Tinto obviously sort of mine in Australia. Interesting to see those guys down. If there is a squeeze in commodities for whatever reason, maybe there's supply chains are starting to kind of pick up again, or anything else, that will actually affect Australia quite negatively, because they have been reliant on high commodity prices to improve their trade balance. So if the trade balance all of a sudden starts to come down a little bit, that shows the purchasing power of the Australian dollar is also getting choked. And having not moved on policy, they may well be in for a period where it could weaken further. So I think the narrative is quite interesting when you kind of look at what these stocks are potentially telling us. And as I say, it's not just Rio Tinto, it's Glencore, it's Anglo Fagista, Anglo America as well. These mining stocks aren't doing particularly well right now. It'd be worth looking a bit more deeply into why, because if it traces back to commodity price reduction or whatever else, that may lead us to saying, actually, Aussie dollar isn't quite as buoyant in the next quarter or next period as it had been in the past, if they don't also start to react by raising interest rates. And they're sort of sitting on their hands a little bit, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, they keep saying the same thing. And wow, how dogged are they, to be honest?
Yeah.
And how you've almost got to say ballsy, to actually maintain that position, given every other developed nation seems to be in I won't say a frenzy, but they're more than willing to try and attack this scourge of inflation by raising interest rates. And as you say, Australia hasn't been affected on paper by as much as a lot of countries have by inflation. But gee whiz, I'll tell you what, the papers lie to me, because absolutely everything here is just going up, price-wise. Supermarkets are just going through another 4 or 5% increase in the last week. Freight costs are just astronomical. Right. You've got in fact, I just argued with one of my freight companies today because he overcharged me. But anyway, those sorts of things are rife in Australia, and we're not seeing it on paper, which kind of makes me a little bit suspicious. And if that number actually does represent what I see and feel, then the RBA is going to have absolutely no choice. I think you're right. Eventually. They're going to have to go.
I had my I went to my cousins over the week last week. I don't know if you can see that. Oh no, you can't.
No, it's disappeared. It must be the same colour.
Here we go. I can get behind it maybe.
You've got a cheese board, have you?
It's like a little chopping board, but he's kind of carved in a Batman for me.
Oh, I can't see the Batman. Tilt it forward, mate.
Oh, that's a shame.
It
fully disappears. Oh,
there you go. Got it.
Needs to get my body behind it.
I got your Batman there too. Awesome.
You got the Batman. Yeah, he's carved that in for me. Carved in a Batman, but made out of bamboo.
Good stuff, mate. She's good stuff, that bamboo.
Yeah, I don't want to use it as a chopping board though, because I think I'll ruin it. So I've just got it as a.
I'll send you some underpants for Christmas made out of bamboo.
That'd be great. Carve Batman on them as well.
No, I can't promise that.
We've got no Simon, mate, and I'm presuming I don't know whether you've got some more charts to look at, but we've also got a quiz to get to. So how are we doing?
Look, I'll look at a couple more after the quiz, but lychee tea. Did we actually? We had a look at gold. Sorry, that's on YouTube. If you can't see the question, how about gold versus the dollar? Is the question. Did we cover that adequately, or would you like?
Well, maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, let's bring back gold. I think that the thing with gold is the surprise. It's just surprising. It's surprising that it isn't getting the pickup that I would have suspected it would have. What I would say about gold personally is that regardless of the chart, I think gold is something to own personally. I've started investing in gold and there are many ways you can do it. You could do it with cryptos, you could do it with physical, you could do it with trading it, you could do it with stocks, gold stocks as well. So there's a few ways to do it. And personally, I think it's wise to get some gold exposure. That doesn't mean that I think that gold is the product to protect against all this stuff, because we just don't know. There is obviously a section of the market which will claim that, but we also know that a balance in your portfolio is sensible. So I think putting gold in the portfolio is sensible. So the question then comes in: at what price is it sensible? Well, the most sensible, to my mind, is down here. If we have a look at this on a daily here, have a look at this on a daily, then it looks to me like this level would be good. And if you bring in some other trend lines along here, then it might even be a little bit higher than that. Maybe it's going along here somewhere. There looks to be a sweet spot around here. Now, this is the area that it looks to me like it's broken out of. Maybe there. Yeah, actually there. That looks like a pretty good horizontal level. This area is held as well. So at 1900, there's buyers. You can see that there are buyers here, or there have been buyers up to this point. So at this stage, this is the lower end of the pattern. This is obviously the highest point of the pattern, but we haven't even reached up there yet. So at 1910 is a buy. And then again at 1860 or 1850, this zone here looks to me like a buy again. If it breaks down there, I don't think you're then able to buy until it gets down to probably, in actual fact, there's another little level here. Yeah, probably down there. Down there. But I do think that gold has proved itself to be, I'm not going to say untradeable, but it's a difficult one to trade. It has really been a tricky one to trade. And I don't know whether you really want to be sort of getting into gold from a trade perspective, unless you've been trading gold for a long time and you really kind of understand how it moves. I just don't. So I'm not playing it that way. I'm much more interested in investing in gold and saying, look, I want to have some exposure to that particular market, just in case the people that are calling for it at $10,000 an ounce are correct. And the inflation picture historically works out the way that it tends to. So we need some gold in the basket. I think to ignore it is irresponsible. But I think to maybe put all your eggs in the gold basket could end up being equally irresponsible, because you're effectively saying one side of the argument is absolutely right. But I think you need to have some. But as I say, mate, to trade it, I don't know how traders have managed with gold over the last few weeks. I think that they must have been pulling their hair out just with the way that the price action's gone.
Yes, I agree with you. And I don't trade gold, but I just cannot agree with the long-term prospects from a chart point of view. I agree with you from a fundamental perspective, but it just makes perfect sense. It does. But when I look at that chart, and I continue to say, I cannot unsee the double top there. It's just, 2/3 of Batman's mask, right? Have a look at that thing on your tray. have a look at the mask on your tray.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's pretty much what we're looking at there, partially, right? The 2 ears. Now, that means absolutely jack shit, frankly. That's what I see. But time and time again, I have seen a pattern such as this drive the market down to the bottom of where it began. So that double top actually started back in 2018 when it started to come off the low. There you go. So that looks like the fly. But
yeah,
it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's a bloody big double top. And if you go to the monthly chart, there's even a bigger one. And look, people argue till they're black and blue in the face with me to say that there's not a double top that started in 2010. And to me, that's still a double top.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and this bar isn't particularly pretty either. Last month's bar isn't particularly pretty either. Now we got this inside bar kind of going on. Yeah, I mean, and I think this is the another thing about gold, I guess, is that you probably are better off trusting the longer term charts, because the short term charts are so vicious and difficult that we're probably better off looking at that. That does look like a potential area, maybe even down there, but I mean, this is what we were talking about months ago. We were saying, yeah, we'll have it down here, but that's when this was going on. But then it's broken through this area, so it does suggest that this point would be a buy zone at this stage. If it can hold it.
Look,
there.
I think it is tradable for that reason. Yeah. I think you will be able to buy it off the support levels, but ultimately, if I'm to take a position in gold, for me, then, and I'm not going to, trust me, I'm not a gold aficionado by any stretch of the imagination, but when I see a chart that tells me something, I have to believe that chart is accurate, and to me that's definitive.
Yeah,
I couldn't trade it any other way. As a short-term prospect, then 100%. It doesn't matter what I see on a monthly chart. I can still trade against that on a daily chart or a 4-hour chart or an hourly chart or a 30-minute chart. It doesn't mean I can't go long. And if those highs are taken out, then clearly my analysis is wrong and the chart is wrong.
Yeah, and Swee makes a really good point. Swee's saying, especially if the dollar kicks in aggressive rate hikes, not very attractive to hold gold, and I think that's the point with it, isn't it? It depends on which side of the fence do you sit on. Do you sit on the fact that the US hikes interest rates and they fix stuff, or do you sit on the fact that the US hikes interest rates, they break stuff, and that's what will drive gold to the upside? So it really is. It's all conjecture. The next action by the central bank would suggest suppressing the gold price because of the high interest rate. But I suppose
except if you believe the dollar yen chart, then that's already priced in multiple interest rate rises. It's already done.
Yes. Well, that is true. That is true. But then I suppose, do the interest rate rises actually fix the inflation narrative? Because if it doesn't, then you've got more interest rate hikes, and you've also got gold, potentially still at an attractive as an attractive product, or the inflation narrative picks up or remains sticky. They can't raise interest rates anymore because the economy starts to tank. Then again, you've got gold in it as an interesting and worthwhile product to own. So I suppose this is why I'm saying having some in your basket is worth it, because you don't know which one of those potential scenarios will happen. But to try and trade it, as I say, mate. I mean, it's a tricky one. I would, if I was looking to trade it, I think I'd be buying here and seeing if I could get a little bit of a boost to the upside. But right now it looks like you're looking for selling opportunities, I guess.
Yeah, I think there are easier ways to make money too, frankly.
Yeah.
Hey, it must be quiz time.
All right, I think it must be.
Lychee tea, perhaps we've just completely confused you entirely if you've got a position in gold. We're going one way or one's going one way, one's going the other. And if you want to, this happened, and there's been quite a few of them. Google Jim, what's his bloody name? Google gold debate between Jim
Bianco, is it?
Oh, can't remember.
I remember the one you're talking about. Was it Jim Bianco? It was
no.
It wasn't Jim Bianco.
Jim. Can't think of his name. But anyway, kind of both conspiracy theorists to a degree. But Google that and have a good look at it. It's a wonderful debate. And one of them, and they're both potential, I'll say potential, because I don't really know their credentials, apart from Jim seems to have good credentials. The other guy's a bit of a commentator. Jim's saying gold's a 10K or even 15, maybe. And the other dude, Harry someone, he's saying 1,000. Both can be right. And that's the whole point. It can go to 1,000 before it goes to 10, or it can go to 10 before it goes to 1.
Harry Dent and James Rickards, is it?
Rickards, that's it. So Google that, have a look at it. If you want to have a good insight as to what gold can do, is likely to do, is a completely different story. And nobody knows, but they're two experts in the field. And one saying 10,000, one saying 1,000. So, what hope have we got as mere mortals?
Yeah.
Anyway, I see that jovial John has joined us for the Theatre of Thursday Thoughtfulness. How are you, mate? Unable to talk. So that means I've got to act because I'm the man in the seat. Let me try and give you some power, mate.
There you go. You got all the power, Jeff.
I didn't do a thing.
I did.
Somebody's got some power, not me, that's for sure. Yeah, it's all
you
good.
magic yourself.
It's all cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I see a few people in the room that haven't been in the room, to my knowledge, for a while or at all. And to those people, welcome. I hope you're not. Well, you're still here, so you must find something interesting, which is great. But this little section that John presents is a quiz, and we would love you to participate by putting your answers in the chat box. Now, the prize at the end of it is gold, and it's 100% of that much. But you do take away the pride of being today's champion. So, John, go hard.
Yeah.
Buddy.
It's good, man. I need somebody to allow me to share host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, hang on.
It's a message just flashing up on my Prime Minister's Question Times.
How about now?
Oh, rock on, man. Yeah, that seems to be more of a
David Essex, right?
This will stop somebody else's. Do I want to do that? Well, I suppose
that's okay. Yeah. It's only mine.
Am I the only one who got that?
Nobody else wanted to admit that they knew David Essex's music.
Oh, fair enough.
I want to share.
I get it.
Yeah, I'll share that one. Right. Okay. Oh, I've got it right for once. Everybody should be able to see that. Is that cool? Can everybody see that?
Gotcha.
Right. Okay. Today's quiz is not a brainstormer by any stretch of the imagination.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. It's relaxed and it's chilled out. Question number 1. Which of the following is not a Forex pair?
Ooh. Which of the following is not? Oh, nice. Nice start, John.
Well, it got I must have had a, what's it called? Can't remember.
I don't know.
What are they called? A crystal ball, because you were talking a little bit about it. Everybody should have, come up with B, XLM. I hold a little bit of that, nothing dangerous.
Dangerous? Okay.
Well, no, I've got quite a spread of cryptocurrencies, but I made a lot of money on one cryptocurrency, and I devolved that money out onto the rest. So I never hit my capital. I was quite lucky. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Yeah, so that way, I just watch what goes on now.
For those of us who are absolutely oblivious to what goes on in the crypto space, what the hell is it?
The reason I've got XLM, there's a possibility that this cryptocurrency will be used in some form of the payment system when they decide to, what are they going to do going into the sort of, I don't know if you believe they're going to get rid of currencies eventually. It's part of
I do believe that.
Yeah, it's part of the payment system. I've got a few of them, Algorand, Ada, and a few others, but I haven't got big loads of money in. I've just got a little bit in there, only really also to keep myself interested. I never went down
just in case investment. Right.
Yeah, I didn't go down NFT route. I just never got my head around it. I'm sorry. I couldn't I understand a lot of people made a lot of money, but it was just never for me. I just, everybody to their own.
Yep.
Here we go. Question 2. Which of the following is not a Forex major pair? I do these to remind myself as well. Let's hope I get them right, get the questions right as well. We should be nice and easy, lemon peasy. Obviously, these the CAD and the yen are. I don't know what the yen is going to do. I have no idea. It'd be great for a holiday, though.
Yeah, got no idea. Well, I've got an idea. It's just timing. It has to rally at some stage.
Yeah.
When? No idea.
Yeah, I'm going to be getting.
I would suggest that if Mr. Putin actually does start nuclear, then that'll be the trigger.
Yeah, that could be all over Red Rover, I think.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah, if he does that, well, he's short of a few, isn't it, at the bottom of the ocean. Okay, I thought this was quite interesting. Who just made an offer of 43 billion USD to buy Twitter? Boris, obviously, because he wants to squish his party gate. Elon, Vladimir Putin, and our friend running China down at the bottom. Who's on for that? And it's quite.
What you got, Jeff?
Well, the only one that makes sense to me is
Well, the reason I put them in there, Boris Johnson, obviously.
Oh, I'm answering to Anne. Sorry, Anne.
Oh, my apologies. I'm all over the place, man. I've got to keep quiet. I'll stay out of that gig. Okay.
This is a beathon, I've got to tell you.
Oh, okay, cool, man. Where is the Bank of England located? Pin Street, Threadneedle Street, Printing Press Alley, Cash Place. Where is the Bank of England?
Well,
I'd throw
I'll have to be led by the people who live there. I'll have to go with the beathon. It is a beathon.
It is.
Okay. Yes. There we go. Yes, it is. Yeah. I'll let you into the other side of this. Look, I started this half an hour to go, so I wasn't switching.
You had to come up with some really interesting answers.
It's a grand one, mate.
No. So I've got my sense of humour. Sometimes I have to hold it back because some people might not. But I thought you guys would appreciate it.
Tell me this, and I guess the answer is probably no, but is that named because it's a drug area?
No, it's not. Threadneedle Street, I do believe,
I thought I'd ask.
Was an area of
clothes making.
Yeah, it goes back. Back tailors, and you get the wool, the cushion, the wool sack that the Chancellor sits on or did.
There you go. That makes sense. Yep.
Oh, well,
tread, tread, as in old singer-song.
It's all gone horribly wrong here.
They
Okay.
used to have some cool names for the streets. What was the you got Baker Street. What was the street that the Fire of London started from? I can't remember that.
Oh. Pass.
That was a cool.
I can't remember, but they have good names. I mean,
Yeah,
the streets tended to be named after what was in them. So
yeah, exactly.
Which makes even though it's a pain to drive around, it's a cool place to go and visit if you haven't got to get stuck into the traffic.
Yeah, agreed.
Which one of the following face off against each other?
Now, this was in the show earlier.
Yes, it was. If you were paying attention, you're in. Macron and Le Pen and Sarkozy, Macron and Mitterrand, Chirac and de Gaulle.
Time traveling.
I was going to say, if people are picking D, we've got a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, obviously, she can't shift the being brushed in the same canvas as the father.
No, I agree, mate. I totally agree. I think that.
And she's going to be. She's not. I mean, nobody's clean in this political game, but she's got a few. She's got a few questions to answer.
She does. She has. Yeah, she does have some skeletons in her closet. I guess the thing with this is that we've had surprises in the past, so everybody's always kind of on their guard slightly. But it does look like a bit of a shoe-in. I saw a bit of the debate. Right.
I don't think I'd want to be waking up and on Monday morning and Le Pen's party are in charge of the Champs-Elysees.
Well, I suspect the euro would do particularly badly on that day.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good. I'll wait for my euro trades until that thing's over.
Yeah.
Having a good day so far.
Well, I haven't looked today. I've been very calm and cool, collected. I've just got my FTSE trade short on, very small, nothing else. Okay, which of the following countries was not a founding member of the European Union? France, Germany, West Germany at the time, Luxembourg, and Spain. For those who want to say, Jeff, you're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to say, I'm going to give it a punt.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah. Okay. 57 was the day. For those interested in this, fun fact, it was actually a union between France and Germany to do with coal and steel. That's where it all started.
Where should have stayed?
Yeah, there we are. Spain.
Yeah, I couldn't go with everyone else.
Yeah.
I think it's a shame that the EU project. I really do. And I was saying to somebody the other day, I didn't vote to leave, but I wouldn't vote to join now. If the offer was the other way around, I wouldn't vote to join the EU. I think it's just become.
It was going well until the currency. I mean, I think I can see the idea of the currency. But when you've got people like Greece,
exactly
hiding debt.
Exactly. Too many sort of countries are probably part of the club that probably shouldn't qualify.
True.
And I think that's some of the problem. I think there would have been a better way to do it. Great idea, really good idea, but I think it's been really badly implemented.
It's a shame. Okay, this is a music question. Who is the composer of the European National Anthem? Bit of a European feel, because I think they're going to have to move on to straight. The Beatles, Beethoven, Handel, and ABBA. Oh, look at that. Yes. Yeah. Oh, look at this. People are obviously paying attention to the quizzes of the past.
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that.
And we're coming up with the real McCoy there, Beethoven.
LVB.
Yeah, he's a good man. Okay, which of the following countries is not a Baltic state? Liechtenstein, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, which is not one of them. Yeah, well, yeah.
Everything ends in A except A. Okay.
It's an interesting way of doing the test.
I think from a logical base, John.
I did, of course.
Was that A? Of course.
It is Liechtenstein, yeah. I can't know whether is it Lithuania, maybe the one that's just become independent of getting no liquefied gas from Russia. They built their own offshore port.
Oh, well done them.
So they've that was my little bit of reading for the day. Okay, well, there's lots of. This should be an easy one, just in case people are bombing in the test. That shouldn't use that word, but you know they're not going nowhere. Which of the following currencies is not a major? Obviously, the Canadian dollar, pound sterling, the ruble or the ruble, or the Swiss franc. Yes, we should get that one. It is nice and easy. And today's last question: which country closed the Bosphorus Strait to Russian warships? Let's hope they continue to do it. Bulgaria, Cyprus, Turkey, or Greece? Which one of those countries is in charge of the Bosphorus Strait?
I don't know.
They're all pretty close, to be fair, but one of them is actually in control of it.
I'm going to go with the same as Jeff.
Yeah, I like it. Everybody's coming up with the right one.
I'm going back to WW. When Australia Bosporus, does it make sense? Too late now. You've given me the answer. My answer's C, John.
Yeah, it's right. It's on. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because you were going back. Yeah, World War One, Anzac Code.
Yes, that's what I was going back to. It makes sense for it to be Turkey. Yes.
Yeah. There we are. That is today's quiz.
Very nice one, mate. I enjoyed that quiz. We were due to be joined by Simon, but I don't see him in the room. And I don't
think he's in the room.
Okay. Well, we were going to talk crypto, but maybe he'll join us next week. I don't know, but if he does join us next week, then we'll be looking into that again. And I think it's probably a decent time to start the discussion on cryptocurrencies again because of what's happened with the market and what the price that crypto is now at. Much better to talk about stuff when the price is lower rather than everybody talking about things when they're pumping. So I think it could be quite good. Is that the euro dollar you got there? Goodness
That's
me.
the euro, mate. Yep.
Yeah. Is that after the announcement? Let's see.
I don't know. What announcement is there? So no, I haven't even.
Just the member who said that the interest rate's probably July, or who is it? CPI 10 o'clock. Okay, so CPI is not out yet. Yeah, must be to do with that comment.
Interesting. Makes it untradeable from a short-term point of view at this very point, but I'd be thinking there's a retracement on at some stage. That's what I'd be looking for. But much will depend on that news, of course. So, but I'd be looking to trade this if I was looking to trade this as a false break of that level. The story will be here. I believe you'll be told whether it's going that way or that way at this point. So if price were to hang around here for a little bit, let's put it onto a smaller time frame and come back underneath that level, retest it, then I'd be more than happy to trade it back down to the daily pivot. What happened last Thursday, guys? When we left you, we were talking about euro dollar and which direction it would go. That's last Thursday there, I think. Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Friday, Thursday. Gorgeous, isn't it? Just gorgeous. Don't know if you found a way in, but straight down it went to the daily pivot, back towards it, back towards it, back towards it. Just keeps doing it. Keep your eye on euro dollar. It's very, very tradable at the moment. Yeah,
well, and as we know, sort of like with Macron and Le Pen, that there are reasons to kind of get interested in the euro. This is where the volatility is. So only be looking for short-term positions. The euro is probably the one I would suggest is worth looking at. You got CPI out at 10 o'clock, so I'm not sure whether you don't want to get involved now, but there could be something where the price sneaks just under your trend line, and then after that CPI data is out, that we might start to see the market move again, up or down. I don't know which, but
yeah, no, we don't know that yet.
I think trading, there's a phase coming probably.
What we do know is that that little interesting candle that we saw on dollar yen earlier should well have played out. No, it hasn't yet. Still stuck. I might look at this a little bit later. I hate dollar yen, but I can totally see the dollar index coming off its highs. And I reckon down there is where it's headed, back under, say, around about the 99.15 mark, which is another 70 pips away. So on a smaller time frame, you may well be able to pick that up as a trade. Doesn't look that great though. It's gone on a small time frame. That's a shame. Makes it trade difficult. You need to pull back now to get into it. Sad, but true. That's the dollar index. It's not dollar yen. That's the S&P. Yeah, keep looking at dollar yen. I think it's potentially there. Dollar CAD, I need to talk about this actually, because those of you who are in this with me probably need to start thinking about where you're going to take some more money. The problem is I see this going way down here.
Yeah, I think you're right.
123.50. Where are we now? 124. So there's another 100 pips. Don't really want to sacrifice any of that. So that's probably my second take profit level at 123.55 as I've got it there.
Yeah.
And then I'll tighten up my stops pretty heavily, because I'm not sure we'll get to there. I think we're probably going to be range bound then for a while.
Yeah.
In this area. So I'll tighten up the stops and maybe even look to trade it off the bottom on a smaller time frame. But I don't really want to make that my target, because that is also in play. Yeah, it's a tough one as to where to take profit here, but I think you've got to respect that level. So get some money off the table there, I think, on dollar CAD. Kiwi CAD, look, Kiwi CAD's at an interesting point. I did move my stop loss today on Kiwi CAD because we have taken a couple of profits on this already. So we're trailing in profit at the moment. I've just kept it a little bit above the weekly pivot in case it does shoot back up here and then go on with the job. But again, ultimately, the target here is way down here, or even there, the same level, 81.30. You want to get a wriggle on if it's going down to there, though. But it's a bounce point at the moment. The problem that we have, as always, is where's it going to bounce to, or is it going to? I can't see it reversing, frankly. But trailing your stock is always a difficult proposition. At the moment, I think just above the weekly pivot is the place to be. And that's where I'm at. Do I get out here is the question at the 83.50 mark. I don't think I will. But a lot will depend on what happens, I guess, from a fundamental viewpoint as well. And I'm really talking about oil there. Because the CAD is so correlated to oil, whereas the Kiwi not so much. If oil was to tank, pardon the pun again, then I think probably the CAD might come off a bit. But at the moment, oil's got a support level. Again, I think it's going to probably oscillate in between the pivots there for a while, so tough to call. Euro, I've told you what I'd propose to do. I'm gutted. I'm absolutely gutted on three fronts. One of them is this one, Euro Swissy. We've spoken about this at length because of the 2015 decoupling, and we've now climbed just back above that level that I've got at 102.80-ish. Let's call it 103, shall we? So we're kind of there right now, a
Mm.
little bit above it. A pullback here really does get me interested in trading this long.
Yeah, I would be with you on that, mate.
Yeah. And you just can't get back below that level quickly, in my humble opinion. They tried and failed with this big bar here. So, I reckon this is a buy every day of the week if we get a setup. I just don't trade on a whim, but gee whiz, I wish I was in on that candle there. I reckon it's a corker, absolute corker. The reason I didn't was because I didn't have a reversal pattern before it. Otherwise, that would have been a trade for me. Don't like the color of the candle because I'd like to see a red body, but yeah, any pullback here to me is a buying opportunity. The other one I've gutted against is pound Swiss. Again, we spoke about this with the big triple bottom. We were looking for a break and retest of the monthly pivot. What retests? Not giving you a retest, you retard. Didn't even get a pullback to the weekly pivot. So just infuriating when the market doesn't allow you into the trade. I've learned to be a scalper. If you get in there, you're happy, right?
Yeah.
And the final one that again is a gut wrenching, not so much this one, I suppose, but it is gut wrenching to a degree. But we're now getting exactly what we asked for. This is the only one that's given me what we asked for, and that is a break and retest of the pivots. Where do I get in is the question. And I'm looking at it very, very closely. There might be a few traps around here somewhere. That's the problem. You've got a head and shoulders forming there as well. Makes it really tough. What I need to see is price get underneath where it is at the moment. And I'm not sure. I haven't got a trade line that allows me to do that. Maybe this one. I just need to see a false break of support. And I haven't seen that at the moment. This could take off, of course, at any moment. But price gets under here. So under all the pivots, and you can see how close together they are. That suggests to me that price isn't going anywhere anytime soon. But if it were to break down here and then get back above them and retest that confluence area, that would be my signal to go long. At the moment, I'm just waiting for retracement again. And if I look at the daily chart, I'm saying, well, you've already got it, you dope. Why don't you just get in the market? It won't allow me to do so. I'm just hopeful that it eventually concedes that I need an entry point. It's just not there right now. Frustrating, but that's the way it is. We'll stick with the CAD at the moment. Seems to be doing pretty good job for us. But those pound pairs and the Euro Swissy, wow, would like to have got in about 200 pips ago on some of those.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
I think you're right to keep watching those pound pairs and the Euro Swissy, mate. I think both of them are, very, very valid for the upside. But let's leave it there for now. Hopefully, we'll be joined by Simon next week, and obviously we'll be back with George on Monday. There's another bank holiday coming a week on Monday, so there won't be a show a week on Monday. So we see Monday, then there's the UK bank holiday, so market's closed, so we won't have a show on that Monday either.
Here in Australia, we've got a bank holiday on Monday, this coming Monday.
Oh,
which is Anzac Day.
Oh, okay.
Here in Australia, but because of COVID, I don't move anywhere anyway, so I won't be going to any dawn services and drinking rum at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Which is probably a bloody good thing because Tuesday is going to look a whole lot better for that reason.
Okay, so we'll be back Monday and Thursday. Hopefully joined by Simon next week. Definitely joined by George on Monday, and then the following Monday, so everybody knows there won't be a show. So because it's May Day, so the first Monday of May, no show. So have a
hey, it's May Day.
May Day, yeah. Have a great weekend, everyone, and thanks to John as always. Thank you to you, Jeff, for being my trading buddy. And I don't know who let us in this morning. Was it Marlon?
No, I think it was James. So
thank you to James.
I'll close it. Thank you to James.
Okay.
Or whomever pressed the button. Somebody did, and then they handed it over to me, which is a dangerous prospect at the best of times. But there you go. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for being our trading buddies, and we will catch you on Monday. Bye-bye for now.